Barnhart is our guest. We're going to open the show, and his face won't show on the video, and you won't see him talking, but he's talking, and that's him. So stand by. We're going to have a really good discussion tonight about the new schedule. Maybe Tony can make some sense of it because it's confusing. We'll talk about who's hot and who's not in the SEC, and also what's going on in the world of coach changing. A lot of that going on. All coming to you tonight on the program. Tony Barnhart will be joined shortly by Franz and also Loren Meadows tonight on the program. So stay tuned. Don't just ignore the black box. It is what it is. And sometimes technology just wants you to get it done that way. But we are going to get it done tonight. Stand by with Tony Barnhart.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Marti. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. We don't have the traditional look tonight because that black box down below was supposed to be Tony, and he's not there, but he's on the audio, and his picture is on the top right. Now, so good evening, my good friend, Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart. He's not retired yet, thank goodness. How you doing, Tony?
I'm good, buddy. You know, we've been warming up for this week for several weeks now. Now it's time to go. It's go time, and we got a good list of games this weekend.
It is a great weekend. It's also a great weekend for the Ryder Cup. I'll be flipping back and forth since Florida didn't have a game Saturday. But I need you to take us by the hand and walk us through a few things because, as I said in my pre-seed, some people might say that they're dumping on tradition and rivalries. Others say they've got more competitive balance. The new schedule came out this week. We saw who the permanent so-called our opponents are for the next 4 years. Just give me your overall assessment, and we'll start talking about it. And if people want to pick it apart, jump on and do that. But it's certainly a different look than many of us expect.
Well, it's a different look, but this is something we've been talking about for 5-6 years now, and it was always going to look this way. The key is you can't preserve all the rivalries. You can't do it, but what you can do is give you the opportunity to protect one or two, if you're lucky, three. And that's basically what, let's take Georgia. I mean, we knew that Florida would be Georgia's number one rival. Then after that, Georgia won at Auburn. That's a game that's been played since 1892. And the other one was just sort of floating. It ended up being South Carolina, which kind of makes sense because that's, as they say, that is a contiguous state. So obviously I hate it that LSU and Alabama won't play every year.
And Florida.
But the good thing is, under the old scheduling system, if you didn't play anybody, you would go 8-10 years without playing somebody. Under this system, you will play everybody. Every 2 years, you'll play everybody. And every 4 years, you'll play everybody home and away. So I like it. I think we get more quality games. I was hoping above hope that Florida and Auburn would come back, but I didn't see it. That's one of my favorite games.
Florida Auburn is one of my all-time favorites. Used to be the third biggest rival in the schedule before Florida State got good and all that. But that was a big game, and we had some fantastic history between the two schools. As those of us who follow football close, and you do, you help write it. The games like Spurrier kicking the field goal to win the Heisman against Auburn. I think that's one where Gus Year out got a fumble in midair and went back 99 yards, as I recall. John Reeves threw 9 interceptions up at Auburn. There's many things. We know a lot of great games were played, and I think the fans were very compatible. Auburn and Florida fans seem to get along pretty well. But I can also see, from the front office standpoint, the competitive balance. And here's the other thing. Florida now has Kentucky and South Carolina, and they don't have to play Tennessee and LSU. That's a little bit of relief right there for the team that's had the worst schedule in the last 2 years of anybody in the country, hardest. And as much as I'm against that, the fact remains is that I do see competitive balance. But I'm just enough of an old diehard to say the LSU-Florida rivalry was really starting to get good now in recent years. The thrown shoe and all the things that happened. And who could ever want a better rivalry than Tennessee-Florida? But times change, things change. I don't know how the fans take it or what they think. What is your take on that?
I think the fans are going to love it because the schedule is now set for the next 4 years. And if you want to make plans, you can do it. You can do it right now. And look, but everybody knew going in that everybody was going to get their top 2 rivals. Okay, some might get 3, but take Alabama for instance. Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee. Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee were no-brainers. And everybody said, well, why don't you take LSU? Well, guess what? Alabama didn't want to play LSU too. You weren't going to give somebody. That was the idea all along. You were not going to give somebody 3 really top-tier games. You give them 2. The 2 that they wanted, but you weren't going to give them 3.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And there are going to be some anomalies. We know there always one with Oklahoma and Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's you knew some of those would pop up like, huh? What? Yeah, that was it was. Yep.
But I know I'd hate to be the person making this game. Here's the good news. If you miss them this year, you get them next year.
That's right.
Because you play all 16 over 2 years, right?
Right. And so all of these rivalries that we were talking about, Florida, Auburn, all these great, love, at least now they'll be played every other year. Okay.
That's true.
They're on the schedule. And so they'll take care of that. And that's much better than what we had. Buddy, this whole system is much the system that we had when we had divisional play in the conference. I know why they had to do it because they were getting divisions sort of cranked up. But now, well, here's my favorite example. Texas A&M joined the Southeastern Conference in 2012, and now it's 2025. Texas A&M Georgia has yet to go to College Station, Texas, and Texas A&M has been because only one team rotated every year. Now every year, 6 teams rotate on, 6 teams rotate off. And that happens every other year. And I just think we've got more really good games.
Well, over the long period of time, but it is a bit of a withdrawal to think about not having some games. Can you imagine if they had to pull Florida, Georgia? I mean, that couldn't happen.
That's why you make you put them in. Hey, is that your top rival? Okay, you're going to get your top, and you're going to get your top 2. Probably won't get your top 3.
Who do you think it impacted the most?
Well, I don't know. I think it impacts everybody. I mean, now if you're trying to build your program, maybe that's not the best way to do it. But again, I just think it's going to work out. I really do.
All right, let's talk about coaches. Time of year when, boy, the changes are coming early this day and time. And we all know what's going on. We've seen firings already. We're going to see more. The one everybody's talking about down here, of course, guess what, is Billy Napier. Some people are still mystified how he still has a job. Urban Meyer says it's because he's got a big buyout. And I had Urban on a couple of weeks ago. We talked about that, not about him specifically, but about money. Mm-hmm. And he said, listen, buddy, I've talked to a couple of associate ADs who told me, and he said that we've seen the end of the big buyouts and the big NIL deals and the big facilities, big facility thing. Remember when facilities were the big deal? You know,
not anymore.
yeah,
The money's going to the players.
yes, and so he cast doubt. And I saw several stories today where they predicted and they quoted Urban as saying that it's not going to happen. That Billy won't, that Billy won't lose his job. Now, I think if you took a poll right now, I don't know this. I would say if you had to take a vote, hard vote, core vote on what to do about Billy, he'd probably be fired. And the reason being not just that their record, which is terrible, 1-3, is the manner in which the offense is played, and the mistakes they keep making about having the wrong number of men on the field, and the play calling. People seem to be absolutely freaking out now. They're sick of it, the play calling. They think it's conservative. They don't like his, and there has been some spotty play calling. There's been also some terrible execution.
All those well-known play callers in the stands are. You got people who've called how many plays in their lives?
Yeah,
none. Yeah. Well, listen, Coach Spurrier always said there's 3 things that a man is convinced he can absolutely do, and that's do a barbecue, drive a race car, and call ball plays. So, no, to answer your question, Buddy, I think if you made a change, if you had to make a decision today, you keep him. And but we'll see when it gets to the end. How is it a good finish? Is it a bad finish? Do they look like? I will say this: the thing you just pointed out, having too many men on the field, that's bad coaching. And that is unforgivable to have mistakes like that.
Especially when you got 50, 60 coaches.
Yeah.
And people think there's too much excess, if that's a right way to say it. There's excess there, coaches, facilities, money, whatever, and you still can't get it right. And you got a mulligan last year because basically what I'm told by those who know is that at the end of the year, before they went on their 4-game run, that Scott Strickland talked to Billy and said, we're going to have to make an change the offensive coordinator. And Billy said, okay. And he told recruits that they were going to get a new offensive coordinator. And then at the end of the year, when he won those games and pulled out the bowl game, he changed his mind. He didn't want to give the call. And he won't name an offensive coordinator. And even if he does, it doesn't matter because his offensive coordinator is an offensive line coach, technically speaking. And he keeps playing. And the thing about Billy is he won't answer the questions. He won't deal with the directness of what is wrong. Keep asking him why. And someone told me a long time ago who would know, who's a pretty smart guy, I said something about his press conferences being sort of non sequiturs, nothing that made any sense. He never seemed to address the writers or the people there. He's done better this year. And he never said anything. And this person said to me, who knows him and knows the principle I'm going to talk about, he said, well, how did Nick Saban do it? And that's exactly how Nick Saban does it, but he's not Nick Saban.
You ain't Nick Saban there, Bo.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'll say Mike Griffith, who says some ridiculous things sometimes just to annoy people. He said when he was hired, he said, going to get his next Saban a starter kit and come to Florida. So look, I don't think Florida fans would like to fire their coach. I mean, the idea that they got to start over again, Tony, we're not getting any younger here, buddy. And this thing is just
that is true.
Yeah.
But you got to have the next part of that sentence, buddy, is okay. Who are you going to get?
All right, I want you to help me on this.
Okay.
I got a scenario I'll tell you about mine, but you be the guy. You're the AD, and you're the guy who's going to have to make that decision. Help me out.
Oh, you mean names?
Yeah,
somebody?
I'll start. Okay.
Give me some names, and I'll tell you who I like.
Well, all right. Let me start the scenario first. And I don't really have that many names, but I've been told that a lot of the money people, one of the money people, want Urban Meyer. I know Urban pretty well. I have him on the show probably once, twice a month, depending. We never talked directly about this because I think it's been a non-starter, So I think the latest is throw a bunch of money and give him a pot of NIL money and go get him for a couple of years. And then make the change, stop the bleeding, and then let him bring in the coach. That's one scenario.
Okay.
The second one was Lane Kiffin's the guy. He's the guy most everybody wants. It's said that supposedly last year they were going to do that, and Strickland stood up to the money people and said, no, we're not bringing Lane Kiffin in here. Okay? I don't know if you've seen that particular this thing on TV last night with Kiffin or none.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to that in a minute. What's going on here? Well, Franz Beard hadn't got this link. Yeah. So give me your comments about the Kiffin piece and what you thought of it and your evaluation.
I was first of all, I will say if you watched that ESPN special, done very well by Ryan McGee.
Yes.
Lane is in first of all, I've watched Lane grow up over the last 8 or 10 years. He's come so far. That's number one. Now he's got a great program for Ole Miss to win 10 games, 3 out of 4 seasons. Ole Miss, great tradition as they have, other than some of the vault teams, they haven't had that kind of consistency.
Right.
But he loves Ole Miss. And why does he love Ole Miss? Because they leave him alone and let him do what he wants to do. They don't mess with him. They know they're lucky to have him. And see, my question is, why would you leave a place like Ole Miss? I've got a new term, buddy, that I'm using. I call it the crazy level of college football. Okay. There's college football, and then there's the crazy level of college football, where there's more money that you can shake a stick at. And I think Lane's in a great situation. And by the way, he's got a really good team this year. And I'm kind of anxious to see some of those games. So I don't see Lane trading what he has for the craziness of the Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee folks in the world. Could be wrong, but that documentary from Ryan McGee gave a lot of insight of how going to Ole Miss has matured him and given his family a place where they can feel comfortable.
There was one scene in particular that really struck me, and I've said this. I'm on record as saying I think he's a man who's happy when you get to that station in life, and all the thing about not drinking and being back with his family, all that sort of stuff, is really been impressive. And then watching the scene of them at the dinner table last night with his ex-wife and his kids all being there, it looked like a big happy family. He looked really content.
All right.
And I'm saying, why would you want to go leave this, right?
Well, one of the things he says in the documentary, he says, I'm the guy who wanted his statue out front, like all these other coaches. That was my goal. He said, now it doesn't mean you figure out later in life, as we have, buddy, what things really mean. Right. What's really important in your life. Mm-hmm. And Lane just looks like a guy he's figured out what's important to him.
Yes, he has. And he looks like a guy. So I don't know the situation that well, but to finish up the scenarios, we say good evening to Franz Beard. Say hi to Tony, the picture of Tony.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
He can't see you, I don't think. But anyway, so just to finish this.
I still look good, even though my live photo's not there. Buddy found a picture where I look good. So that's all that matters.
You look 10 years younger, by the way. Might have been 20.
Bless you, all right.
Yeah, so anyway, just to get back to this particular scenario, and Franz can offer up his opinions. As I said, I know the money people now are wanting Urban Meyer. I've heard it confirmed to me by people who are the money. That's the guy they want to go after. Mm-hmm. I don't think Urban will take it. That's my opinion. No. I've been wrong before. And then we got Lane Kiffin is the hot candidate, the favorite son, the guy they want. Looking at a guy like him at that dinner table, he looks like he's very, very, very happy and content. And then I think after that, your bailout candidate is Eli Drinkwitz. who I didn't like before, but I'm starting to get like more and more.
That guy's a good coach.
Yeah.
I mean, they won 11 games 2 years ago, 10 games last year. And they can't get a sniff. Nobody will talk about them, and which is why Eli Drinkwitz keeps raised in hell, because nobody will talk about his team.
Well, I mean, they'll be talking about it after he goes 5-0, and if he goes 6-0 and 7-0, they're going to be talking about him. I mean, Drinkwitz seems to. I mean, look, what did he do? He gave up play calling.
Yep,
and gave it up, and look what the result was. We're seeing that more and more. The guys who did give up the play calling, it worked out well. Urban says it's a full-time job, calling plays. So that's my scenario. And now you jump in there. There's names Franz and I are throwing around. Go ahead, Tony. Give me a couple that you like, and let's see what you got.
Well, I would say what's the guy's name at Tulane? He's done a heck of a job. Summerall. He's done an absolute.
He's a Group 5. He's a Group 5 guy. I mean, you're going to go after another Group 5 guy? I mean, really?
I think those guys can coach.
Yeah, but Gator fans don't want to risk that.
You just got to be smart.
Gator fans don't want to risk that again. They've had their Group 5.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you. Go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
But that's what I got. I'm just saying there are not that many guys out there right now.
Yeah.
That if there are not that many guys that you are to hire that you would give up Billy Napier at this point in his career.
Not home runs, Joe.
Yeah.
All right, let's let Franz weigh in there, and I'll let Tony get out of here and go back to his milk and cookies he was getting ready to have.
I like John Summerall too, but I'm with Buddy on this one, and just the pulse of the boosters that I've talked to is we're not going to get another Group of 5 guy. They call him Sunbelt Billy, and Ryan Silverfield to me is because he's a ball. He played in high school ball at Bowles, and he coached with Corky Rogers, who's one of the best football coaches ever. And now, granted, it was in high school, but as Leon Brogdon once told me, the great coaches are all in high school, and there's something to that. The great recruiters are in college, but the great coaches are in high school. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy that played and coached for one of the greatest there's ever been, at least in the state of Florida and in the South, as far as high school coaching. And now you look what he's done at Memphis. They're going to have their third straight 10-plus win season, and they just came from 18 down in the fourth quarter to beat Arkansas. I like him a lot, but I just can't see that they do it. Guys, let me throw a name that a booster this morning on the phone threw at me, and he said they've tried to get him 3 times before. This might be the 4th time. And he said Bobby Stoops. He's still coaching in the still coaching football in the pro leagues. He would be the home run hire. He still has the condo at Crescent Beach and spends his time there. He says that would be the home. He says other than Lane, he says this would be the home run hire. So I'm just throwing out what people are saying.
I have to laugh at that. I'm sorry, not laughing at you. I have to laugh at that because one of the things a person very close to the process told me was every time Florida's had an opening, they've tried to hire Bobby Stoops. This will be the 4th time. Bobby Stoops has been on the runway, tarmac someplace more than most flight attendants. He's coming. He's on the tarmac. Here he comes.
I spent some time with Bob Stoops this summer. He is a happy dude. He is happy with his life right now. So
I agree with that. I'm just telling you this is a name that boosters are throwing out there. And from a standpoint of if you got to have a home run hire, there aren't many home runs out there. There's a lot of doubles, and there's a lot of singles and doubles and maybe a triple or two. But home runs, okay, you got Lane. Who else?
Yeah. By the way, guys, and in the new reality of college football, the financial end of this thing, these $20-30 million buyouts
aren't going to happen.
Gone. They're gone. So a guy will take a job, take a big time job, because my first contract, I'm set for life. All right. You're just not going to get those big buyouts anymore. You got a $20 million payroll to start with. So
yeah, well, this will let you go, Tony. It's Florida. If you ask them in their heart of hearts, if you ask Franz and I, what would you like to see happen? What you'd like to see happen was Florida go out there and beat Texas and win 8 games. That's what you'd like to see happen. But that's not going to happen. We all know reality. I feel like I've been duped again, Franz.
Oh.
I've been watching the same offense now for 4 years, and things are going to get better. And it makes no rhyme or reason sometimes, and then they don't execute it well. What are the 3 biggest lies about this team? Our offensive line is great. It's not great. Sometimes it's not even average. They need to get they need a better defense. They got a better defense. They played their butts off last week, well enough to win. And the old lie was, well, once we get a new facility, we'll be able to recruit. I keep hearing these scenarios, and I ain't buying them now. I want to see some results, and I'd like Billy to be the guy, but if he's not, he needs to get on down the road and need to get somebody. I don't know who that somebody would be. I would probably say Drinkwitz. If you can't get Kiffin, I like Kiffin a lot. That's what I want. If you can't get him, I think Drinkwitz.
Guys, do we see the Ron Zook scenario imploded here? Jeremy didn't want to fire Ron Zook, but once he made up his mind that he was going to make a change, he made it. You don't leave this guy twisting in the wind. So the question is, does Scott Strickland make that play in the middle of the season?
I think Scott Strickland now is going to be on a short leash. He's going to have to do what he's told to do, because the money people aren't going to put up with it again. And that's my opinion. Franz, am I wrong?
Not at all. Scott's record for hiring coaches right now is pretty bad. Had made a great hire in Todd Golden, but he said this will be his 3rd football coach. The last 2 haven't worked out quite like that. He's had 2 soccer coaches. He's had a women's basketball coach. He hired a new women's tennis coach. That's not working out so well. Hired a new, he's hired had gone through one women's basketball coach. He's got Kelly Ray Finley, and she hasn't really burned it up so far. I think she's a fine coach, but she hasn't won big. And you can just go all the way through the list, and the record's not that good. I like Scott. I think Scott's a terrific fundraiser. I think he's got a great vision when it comes to things like facilities and stuff like that. I think he's terrific on there. But his coaching hires haven't worked out great.
They have not. Let's let Tony go. By the way, just want to mention Ryan McGee said today he attended a private UF donor event. How he got in that, I don't know. Last season, and the Florida Boosters reportedly planning to hire Lane Kiffin by the end of October. Didn't happen. We start winning. So I don't know, Tony. We'll see. So enjoy the games this weekend. Some good ones. And I want to catch up with the Bulldogs. Their defense needs to play good this weekend again.
Yep. Gotta be fun.
All right, Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Glad we got together, despite our issues we had with our. Let's see. We can take that out of the way. All right, now they're up. All right, so friends, we got waiting in the wings. We got Loren Meadows. We'll join him. First, I want to talk about our fine sponsors. And, of course, we lost Meldon Law. They've been with us now for a long time, and they keep encouraging us, and they keep doing great things, and they're terrific people. You just can't help but like the people you deal with. If you want somebody that's really good at what they do, and of course Meldons have that. Jeffrey Meldon has that. He has a staff now of 50-some people in 5 locations. If you want someone who's a Gator through and through and wants the best for the Gators and is the only NG law firm associated with the games with the University of Florida, you want him. And if you want someone who's a Gator, he's a Gator through and through. So I would encourage you, if you have a need legal, is what I do, contact Meldon Law and ask them if they haven't got an attorney just for you. They'll find one, direct you someplace. That's what they like to do. They do it well. as we bring in Loren Meadows to join the fray. Good evening to you, Loren.
How you guys doing?
Franz is going to hire us a coach here tonight.
I mean, some good names. I like a lot of those names Franz was throwing out there, Stoops and Drink. I got one of my former players is Drink's equipment manager. I got to spend some time with Drinkowitz at the SEC tournament, softball tournament last season, and really nice guy, very approachable, good football man. The record speaks for itself. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, but I think that we're past talking about phantom offensive coordinators and everything else. And it's really talk about who's going to be the next head coach, unfortunately.
Do you feel like I do that you came into this season with such high expectations and all the air has been let out of your balloon?
Yeah, for so much. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's, hey, take the wife to Memphis. She's never been. Take her to the Grove. She's never been. But if it wasn't that case, I'd be staying at home. But I want to say one thing, and I think, Franz, you and I have talked about it because we talk a lot, and Brendan, I really thought that there would be more of an offensive impact from guys like Steve Spurrier Jr. and Russ Callaway. I did think that I didn't like what they were doing offensively, but what I thought they would do is, because of Spurrier Jr. and Russ Callaway, there would be more of a air raid feel to some of the offense. Thought they'd spread people out a little bit better, and it just hasn't been that way. And I mean, I don't know what a guy like, Steve Spurrier Jr. is about, and Buddy, you could correct me if I'm wrong, he's about the closest thing to Mike Leach as far as understanding that offense and things like that. And why they haven't tried to incorporate some of those principles,
because they don't use four wides. They don't use four wides.
Well, but no, I get it. Yeah, I thought that would be the thing. So yes, it is just I love football. Y'all know that. So I'll be there every Saturday, ready to roll. I'm gonna be there in front of the TV this weekend, and like I said, I'll be down at Ole Miss to hang out there and all those things. But yeah, I mean, it's.
If your coach won't listen or even cotton to the idea that okay, maybe if he won't look in the mirror and think to himself, maybe I'm the problem, then that's where the problem begins, because at some point,
do you really think he's that arrogant, Franz? I mean,
yes, I do.
You really do.
I do.
You think he's that, as arrogance is defined in the dictionary? You guys really think he's that?
Why do you want to call arrogance? I mean, arrogance is refusal to think you know everything and everybody else is wrong.
Yeah, like see the world around you and know that this is going down and going down fast, and you choose to make. I mean, Buddy, you wrote about it during an off week. They make a decision. We're going to scrap what we're doing offensively and go here. And you and I both know, friends, the first thing we're going to see is a closed formation with two tight ends against Texas. I mean, it's like,
and the wagons all in a circle.
It's like you got all of this speed, and
I
have a very close friend who asked a certain former Florida football coach who's fairly well known. He said, if you had all the speedy guys that Florida has, what would you do? He says, I'd go four wide and we'd run four wide and we turn it into a track meet. And you think about it,
there's the fourth line. Get a bunch of good receivers with speed. That'll do it. No, it won't. You got to get the ball to them.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
You got to first and foremost, Buddy. You got to run patterns this offense. You got the best wide receivers coach in the country, and you got guys that legitimately you could have a really fine 4x100 relay team with these guys. There's that much speed.
They'd run under 40 seconds for sure,
which
is world class.
It's kind of like this. It's kind of like when you take a guy who's a drop back passer, kind of like what Doug Dickey did, and try to make a veer quarterback out of him, which is what he tried to do with John Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Square peg, round holes or square pegs don't fit into round holes.
I mean, Buddy, you play quarterback. Have you guys ever seen an offense with zero quick game? Like, they don't throw hitches. They don't throw quick outs. They don't throw
bubble
they only
screen,
throw slants versus like press man. Like they never, I mean, where you see like double slant in a bubble. And I mean, you never see that from them.
Yeah, that's a staple of fast receivers and quick getting the ball. That's a staple. You're right. They don't have that.
It's almost like seeing the ball go in on a free throw.
Yeah,
that's what that is for a quarterback. It's quick game.
Here's the thing that Spurrier was a student of the Sid Gilman offense.
Mm-hmm.
And Sid Gilman always said you got 4 vertical seams and you have an X seam across here. And you look at how many of Spurrier's plays, because, he'd run that top guy across the X and then bring the bottom guy underneath. How many of Jabbar Gaffney's big gains were when he was the bottom guy on that X across the middle? The other thing is this, when you had Kwesi Green, he's running these 2 guys like this. Everybody's going this way. And that's why the bubbles, that's why the drags work. But when you don't, when you're not clearing your safeties, you run a drag pattern like this, and the safety just comes up. Boom!
That was the interception against LSU right at the half. There was nothing vertical to keep that safety back there, and he just drove on the in route, and there it was.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. We have to be. I mean, like I said before we came on, what we want if we had our brothers would be for Billy to win 8 in a row and keep his team intact and do well. That's what we want.
Correct.
The reality is that's not going to happen.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, things may go the other way. Instead of going north, they may go south. We're all sitting there wondering what's going to happen. Does it mean they're back to where they were? Because it looks like, and people are saying, and Loren, you had a guest on the night, you did a great job of talking about the X's and O's. And he says he thinks it's a bad case of regression with DJ. He hasn't gotten better. He's gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
You can fill in the blanks to all the reasons why. I don't know the answers to that. But, I mean, we put so much hope in this team and in DJ. We were all – I was pumped. I thought they'd win at least 7, maybe 8. And possibly even 9.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll win 6 right now.
I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win 3.
Yeah, I'd say 4 would be the max right now. I wonder what Vegas. They got that on Vegas. I might need to.
I don't know, but I know they got 1. And like somebody said, if you had Graham Mertz right now, you'd at least be doing 2.
But
maybe better.
Probably
right?
so.
You just mentioned the name though. You want to know why? To me. Why DJ, other than the fact he's been injured, granted that. But here's the other thing. Last year, DJ comes off the side over to the sideline, and who's there for him? Graham Mertz, coaching him up. I am convinced that Graham Mertz was the quarterback's coach last year, because the guy we got doing it this year.
Well, he's had his moments, and he's got Steve Jr. right there if he wants to use him. I mean, Steve knows
but you got to want to use him, buddy.
I know that. I said if you said it,
I would use him. So the air raid, what I've always been told, is about 20 plays on the chalkboard. So it ain't hard. It ain't hard to get it in, and they've had an off week. I literally would be like, you know what, Steve, let's sit down. We're going to sit down with DJ. We're going to put them 20 plays up on the chalkboard. You're going to teach us the rules. You're going to teach us the options on it, and we're going to go with it. What do you have to lose? Because 3 years says,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Franz, what happened in 2005?
Yeah,
2005, they got their brains straight out.
2005, they came back from LSU
and 4 went pull an all-nighter.
And they came down all the way on the plane back. Urban is writing notes on napkins, and he came home with a pocket full of napkins. They pull an all-nighter, And the offense changed. The
they bought a full. They started using a fullback.
I knew that before I ever met you, buddy, because I read it in. I mean, that's the thing. I read it in the book, and don't tell me it can't be done. I've done it. I've done it as a coach. I've seen it as a player. I mean, it just and I just don't get it. And I mean, it's over. We keep talking about it. I'm sorry, it's over. I mean, we need to be like I heard y'all talking about who you like with Tony Barnhart and that kind of thing. I mean, that's where we are now. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's where we are.
Well, it's unfortunate. It's heartbreaking, and it's really hard to go through it again. It really is. There's a lot of Gator fans who are not just unhappy, but dispirited and want to give up almost. So I've had it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not up for a rebuild. Rebuilds are hard. You can't keep doing them. Pretty soon we run out of years.
This will be the 7th coach since Spurrier.
Well,
the next one.
Yeah.
Florida better be careful. They're going to be Nebraska. And I've said that before. They better be careful. Now, it's a lot easier to build now because you do have the transfer portal. And if they get the right coach, he can do some moving and shaking. But if you're not careful, you're going to be Nebraska in football. Searching for the next Tom Osborne. Looks like we're close to searching for the next Steve Spurrier.
Yeah. You're right. All right. Let's put the foolishness aside and make a decision. I played my scenario out a couple of times. I'm not wedded to it. I'm looking for answers. And everybody thinks they've got the answer to this, and nobody does. So if I've got to have a plan, let's make a plan. And I've said this several times on the air, is that if you're going to go for Urban Meyer, fine. That's over here. That's your dream. Go put your money up and go make him say no. That's up to you. I personally don't think that will happen. So who's the guy? I am going Lane Kiffin here. And as Shane says, he's the most like Steve Spurrier. He's got a certain swagger. He's grown up. And like I said, watching him on the special last night, he's a content man with his family around him. He's happy. So he might not come. But I would say he's the best choice. After that, I know these other names. I've mentioned them all. And John Gruden, all that stuff that happened. I think Eli Drinkwitz is the most attractive coach. And I'm surprised I said that. Because up until about a year ago, I didn't like Drinkwitz. But you can't deny what he's done there. And his offense is working. He had enough sense to quit calling plays. So that's my scenario. Loren, what's yours?
I would say that's about right, buddy. I would say Lane definitely is the guy. I think like Shane, and I got to put a lot of what Shane, Shane knows not only Florida, he knows Lane, but he also knows Ole Miss and the difference between what those brands are, and, you talk about the brands. I was on another show talking about the top 10 brands. Ole Miss ain't in it, so Lane, I know he's got it great there and I'm happy for him, but I think that same growth is what may allow him to leave Ole Miss in a good place and still take the Florida job. Outside of what he did, Tennessee and then went to USC, I think he could put Ole Miss in a good place, leave for Florida, and it'd be that way. Eli Drinkwitz is the next logical choice. If you say no, the thing is with no group of 5 guy, I mean, if you're not going, I like Golish at South Florida. I think he could be a pick, but I mean, Lane is the slam dunk, not only because of his success at Ole Miss, but you look at what he did at Florida Atlantic and then recruiting in the state of Florida when he was at Alabama, had real success there with some of the speed and guys like Jerry Jeudy and people like that he was able to get from South Florida. I think he'll have the relationship with the high school coaches in the area. And, I think that, it's going to be interesting. If Lane says no, I think he gets really interested. I like Urban, but I got to defer to you on that. You said there's 99.9% that doesn't happen. So, and I like what Franz said about Stoops, but I would say probably Kiffin number 1 right now. Drinkowitz number 2, and I agree with Franz. Stoops could be an outside hire.
How do y'all feel about Cliff Kingsbury?
No. And the reason I say that is he didn't win at Texas Tech. He had great offenses, but his teams never won.
Isn't he in the NFL now? He's with Washington Commanders, right?
He's Dan Quinn's
He's not
guy
with his alma mater.
Right.
I'll tell you as I've spent the day with being peppered with all this stuff, Stoops would be a home run hire, no question about it. But as Tony just said, it's kind of like with Lane. He's in his comfort zone now. I don't know that there's enough money to get him. He's making $11 million a year. Okay, he's making $11 million a year. He's got life that's good. He they'll put a statue of him outside Oxford. I mean, hey, Johnny Vaught, they need somebody. They hadn't had somebody to make a statue of since Johnny.
Yeah, and Chucky,
you heard what he said. He used to think statues were important. He didn't think that's so much.
No, but I know it's not. But they could do one of it.
Yeah.
How about
the
guy that I've been thinking of personally from my standpoint, and I love Eli Drinkwitz. I've been bringing that up for the last 2 weeks. His offense is number 5 in the nation. His defense is number 8. But I'll tell you who's a guy that I think you could go get him. I think even though he's at his alma mater, Clark Lee.
I don't think he'd leave Vanderbilt. I think you're right now. I think he's married to Vanderbilt right now. He's building something. He's had great success. It's rewarding for him. If I was him, I wouldn't come.
Well, we can say the same thing about Lane, but here's the thing about Clark Lee.
And we might be right about Lane.
If you can do what he's doing at Vanderbilt, and he's done, but again, when you get rid of Billy, you're going to lose a good recruiting class, probably, unless you make the absolute stone kill of a hire. You're going to lose the recruiting class. Lane is the guy that can. He doesn't care about that. He's going to get guys that he's going to get, but he knows the portal. I've never seen anybody handle when they first came out with the portal, I thought, boy, that's people are going to die on that hill. And Lane Kiffin keeps living on that hill. You win 40 ball games in 4 years there at Ole Miss, and you look and you're doing it out of the portal. Holy moly! I mean, that's remarkable. And if you're going to get a guy to replace Billy, you're going to lose a recruiting class. So what do? You get the guy that comes in there and can kill it in the portal.
Signetti's too old, 64. Maybe a fine coach. I'm for the senior citizens, being an old guy myself. But I think to build a program, it's hard to start that guy at 64. I don't know.
Another name was Joe Brady. But the problem, I think
that's a good name. Yeah, it's a very good
problem is Joe Brady gonna want to call his own plays, and then we're right back to where we were before.
Yeah, there you go.
That's Joe Brady got somebody waiting in the wings and some guys can, but I think it would just be a bad optics if he comes in and says, "Yeah, I'm gonna call the plays." It'd be like, "Oh God, here we go again," because it's a lot to do. It's a lot.
It's a full-time job, according to Urban. He would know, but. What do you think about what's happening at the FSU?
Well,
he wasn't got a play caller, and he really is good at doing it.
Yeah, but Norvell never called his own plays.
No, but I'm saying what he did. He got an offensive coordinator, and he held true to his word, and he did have some input on the offense. You get that, and you get Drinkwitz, what he did, and you think, is Billy ever going to get it? He's not Nick Saban. He's not Steve Spurrier. He's not a good play caller. I mean, he knows his offense. He knows in a perfect situation like it when he was in Louisiana, I mean, he'd get his offense going and he run sequences, plays, he'd run them, the way he would run an offense. And every now and then he'd sneak one in and go for it on fourth down. I don't know. I try to figure out what Billy's doing. I can't make sense out of it, Loren.
I got friends on the staff, and I hope they forgive me. He might get it, but he gonna get it somewhere else. That's the best answer I got.
Yeah.
He gonna get it. He might get it, but it won't be at Florida.
Yeah, I think he's got an offense built for if you head coach 10 years, you finally get your offense right. We don't have that kind of time at these prices anymore. And so we're getting to the end. Let's just wrap it up right now with a 40-second summation of this team and this coach and what needs to happen next, Franz.
What's next? I think if Florida gets 4 wins, it's going to be remarkable. I think they got the talent to win 6 or 7 more ball games. I think that the reality is, if they go 3-5 the rest of the way, it would be pretty remarkable in itself. I think Billy stays to the end of the year. I don't think they'll make a change because I don't think they've got anybody they trust to be a head coach on the staff.
Plus, it saves about $6 million. So I don't know. So you think there's somebody out there that they need to go get, right? Who is it?
Well, I'd like to say Clark Lee would be Clark Lee or Eli Drinkwitz if Lane says no.
Okay. All right, Loren, it's your time. You're in bad. Save us.
No, I can't. Keep chopping wood. That's the positive. Keep chopping wood. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Football's a physical game. You definitely don't want to get caught slipping. So every play, go hard, step up, and see what happens. But it's very hard for teams to get around bad quarterback play. And for whatever reason, they're not getting great quarterback play, and they're not very good up front on offense. So that's just a bad combination right now. But, to the Florida people, just, Florida fans, Florida players, just keep chopping wood, just keep pushing. And you never know what happens. Take every game one step at a time, one game at a time, and see where you are when it's all done.
Friends, Billy came out and vehemently said the idea of DJ leaving was comical and ridiculous and absurd and all that. It didn't sound so ridiculous to me based on what I was seeing and hearing from people. And again, you never know how much Billy's in touch with the people around him. You don't know, but he says, and you reported today he's out of the boot. He's okay. I don't know. What do you make of all that, Franz?
I think that I think that if Billy is gone, I think DJ Lagway is a free agent. And I know this, Georgia offered him $5 million last year. I mean, that's real money. And somebody's going to do it. Down there at Miami, they're going to lose Carson Beck this year. They got to have a quarterback. And they've rehabbed Carson Beck pretty good. They've done very, very well with transfer quarterbacks there with their stuff. There's going to be opportunities for him, but quite frankly, I think if and when Billy's gone, I think DJ is gone too.
Sounds like it.
Well, he got reasons. He got other reasons to stay, and I'll leave it at that. So he don't have to. He don't have to go. So
we know the same reason.
Yeah, he don't have to go. So depend on. I think it'll depend on who the coach is. But he's definitely got reasons to stay in Gainesville, and
but she's got reason to go with him too.
Yeah, but they ain't got that sport at Miami, so she went follow. I will leave it at that. I ain't putting his business.
You guys are talking in mysteries now.
Yeah, it's friends though, but I ain't putting his business.
Well, you can't just tease people out there.
But they don't. I mean, they were on TV together. If people watch TV, it's enough. But they don't have that sport at certain schools. So,
well, Billy. I hate to use that term "dead man walking" because it's used too often. It really and truly is. But it would seem to me that you'd try to do something. I mean, even Douglas Adair Dickey in 1978 abandons everything and it's chunked the ball all over the yard, which he had never done before. Just didn't have a quarterback capable of doing it. But even Douglas Adair Dickey changed and decided to go against the grain. And Billy's not doing it. I'm just continuously amazed at how tunnel visioned he is and how he just refuses to take input from outside. I mean,
all right, I'm going to close out with this. I'm an old guy. I can say this. I've been around a while. I remember a coach who wouldn't change his offense, and they hated it. He kicked punted on third down. He said one time he ran the clock out to get a tie, and they asked him why. He says, "I'll never gamble to lose. I'll gamble to win." That makes a lot of sense, and that means Bob Woodruff was out of here and gone. And then we got with Doug Dickey. I like Doug. Doug was a smart guy. He won the SEC before he got here and whatever. My late sister could watch. She watched every game. She knows nothing about football, but she could call his plays. So it's that same predictability, the willingness to change that got other coaches fired. Billy looks like he's lining himself up to be in the same boat because you got to understand you can't. What's the definition of insanity? We know what it is. All right, Loren, good job, buddy. And thank you, Franz. We finally got hooked up. We'll talk to you guys again. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk some more balls soon. All right, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jacob plays football this weekend, and we can actually watch it on TV.
I know. How about that? It's
I'm going to be
amazing.
chilling.
See a good team.
Go get a workout in the morning, and I'm
Nothing
stuck
wrong with
till midnight.
Yeah, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out and sleep in tomorrow, so I'm going to work out.
Hey, buddy, I
news is
sent
we
you a
get to watch a
text,
good
too.
team play
Make sure you
Saturday.
read your text.
Yeah, don't be sending me a check at 5 o'clock in the morning.
No,
All
I
right,
sent you a
guys.
text just now. Make sure you read it.
Okay, I will. All right, buddy. All right,
buddy.
Loren Meadows.
Yeah, guys.
Appreciate you guys. All right, you want to wrap it up with a couple of thoughts about our friends and our sponsors. How much we appreciate them. The folk, the good folks, Titan MRI and Imaging, have been sponsoring our show for a while here now. And they're good people. And they also want you to know they are so customer oriented, customer service. There's a lost art, customer service. Did you ever even try to call a place anymore and get a human to answer the phone, let alone get what you want? How many times do you get frustrated with that? I do all the time. Anywhere you call, leave a message. We're trying to get back to you. Yeah, 2 days later. Anyway, Titan MRI is not that. They're the opposite of that. They will custom make your appointment for a CAT scan or MRI, whatever you might need. They'll give it to you at night if you want it, if you want to go there. And sometimes you work and you can't get off. They make sure they try to fit the needs of the people and the customers, and they do a great job of it. 3 locations to serve you: 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue and Millennium Center, 1 in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service they've always had, and they accept insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay options program. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling with lots of options, larger MRI machine for patient comfort. Boy, that's big. So check them out. Coming to Ocala soon to serve you. Titan MRI. Yes, it's your choice. Thanks to our guest tonight for Tony Barnhart. Always good to talk to Tony. And, of course, our regular cast, Franz Beard, I forgot to mention, he's got a great book coming out soon. We expect to be able to make an announcement next week. If you want to know what happened in the season, basketball, check on the book called The Golden Season, coming out in the hardback form in a matter of a few weeks. Matter of fact, we're going to have a email address you can write to. I think it's going to be the Golden Season at gmail.com. We'll start taking orders, and you're going to love this book. It's terrific, full of Chris Spears pictures. Wonderful job by our team. So we certainly want you to know about that, and we'll give you the pricing later and all that. And I've had a number of people who've asked me about it, and I'm not trying to avoid you. I just got to go with more information. We'll be coming to you the next couple of weeks and days and giving you more hard facts about signings and whatever. So thanks to our guest tonight. Thanks for watching, listening to the show. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow night.